Dum, 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 ba-da-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's everybody doing? I hope I find you in good spirits. Feeling good with the holidays come right around the corner. I know sometimes it just doesn't feel as festive. Maybe family's not around. If maybe you're at a distance or you have to work, but hopefully you get a bit of the Christmas spirit, and you get that smile on your face that comes with it. And let's remember what it's really about. It's really about being with family. It's really about being grateful to have them around and really enjoying them, especially if there's babies in the family. Uh, I want to welcome everybody to another episode of the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N podcast. I'm your host, Dropping Dimes, aka the Hopeful Romantic, aka the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. People always ask me about that name, the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. It's just my way of saying I'm not perfect. I'm gonna f up. You know what I mean? I grew up in a patriarchal society just like you have. I grew up in a home where I was the only boy, and the only boy did not do certain chores, because of the machismo attached to it. And there's certain things. So there's things that I have to unlearn. You know what I mean? There's things that don't come naturally to me. So, I admit it, man. Am I pro women's rights? Am I 100% a supporter of the movement? Do I want to see them succeed? Do I want to see them move forward? I want equality. Yes. But every now and then, I'm going to say some stupid shit. Why? Because it's hard to reverse 44, 45 years worth of, of a patriarchal society and a man's mentality overnight. You know what I mean? So it's going to take time, and I hope people bear with me and understand that when I say things, it's coming from a good place. It's never to disparage women or come off like I'm superior or anything like that. Trust me, it's definitely not that. I want to welcome you to a special episode today. I'm going to be talking about something sensitive that I'm in no way an expert about, but it's been so close to home and now in the mainstream media, now on TV, that I felt like I needed to address it. Mental health has really recently impacted my life. Very recently, I've always known about it. I always know, people that go through it. That's not what I mean. I know about, I've kind of tried to research as much as I could. Well, what it looks like, or what the fact that I can't recognize what it looks like, that people can't recognize what it looks like. It often comes with a smile, and it's not about depression, being sad. It's about other things that go on. So, but recently, I had not one but two friends, and I promise you, I'm not saying this to boast or brag, because this is the last thing I would want to boast or brag about. But I had two friends come to me and tell me the same thing. They both said, "Thank you." That a conversation that we had, me reaching out to them, was the reason they didn't hurt themselves. And they point to that as the moment that they said, "All right, you know what? There's a light at the end of the tunnel." And let me tell you something. As good as it made me feel temporarily, it really just awoke this curiosity, this way of thinking about what people are going through right now. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine being in such a dark place, not seeing the light at the end of a tunnel, being so overwhelmed with an issue or a problem that I see no way out, or that the only way out is if I didn't exist. So from that angle, it's so hard for me to relate. It's so hard for me to really understand that. But when you look around, you have to take yourself out of the equation. It's not about you. My limits aren't other people's limits. What I go through, what I've been through, is not the next person's experience. For them, what could be the end of the world. So maybe it just might be a bump. All right, I'll get over it. Or for me, what might be the end of the world might just be a bump for them. All right, I get past it. No big deal. All I know is that, especially recently, I'm sure most of you have heard of DJ Twitch. He was the co-host DJ on the Ellen DeGeneres show. This is a man with a beautiful family, a great career. This is a man that exuded light and put out happiness in everything he did, every post, all the social media that he put out. Everything that surrounded him was about dancing and fun and laughter and happiness, to the point where we had no idea the level of pain this man was in. We have no idea the level of pain this man was in. I think that's one of the many downfalls of social media. I've developed a formula, though, when I look at people's social media. I could be completely wrong, or I could be spot on. I'm not sure yet. Maybe time will tell. I feel like social media is meant to highlight the things in your life, things that are rare. So if you're on a beautiful beach in a foreign country, you're not there every day, so you want to capture it, post it, share it. You're having this wonderful meal that you capture it, post it, share it, because you don't always have that particular meal. You don't post things that happen every single day. You don't post things that are routine. So I had to apply that. I had to think about that, and I had to apply it. And I said, if we don't post things that are routine, maybe people that are constantly posting being happy, those are the exception, not the rule. Those are the times that they're happy, so they highlight them because it doesn't happen often. So when you see somebody post, and again, I could be completely off, and it doesn't apply to everybody, I'm sure, but you see somebody constantly, and here I'll put it on myself. Many years ago, and not today, and maybe not in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been good at this, but before that, maybe about 5-10 years back, about 10 years back, one of my biggest insecurities was what kind of father I was. It was 100% one of my biggest insecurities. Was I a good dad? Yes. I've always been a good dad. That's without question. You could ask my daughter's mother. You could ask my daughter. I've always been a great father. I know that. Now I'm very secure in that. But back then, my life was, I would like to say, turned upside down. I was very off balance. Let's just leave it like that. I was all over the place, man. Whether it was women, whether it was just running around, hanging out, it was just different for me 10 years ago. But the one thing I always made time for was my baby, my daughter, But yet it still brewed this huge insecurity in me. So what would I do? Every chance I got, look at me, look what a great father I am. Picture with my daughter, picture with my daughter, picture with my daughter. Look at me and my daughter, me and my baby, me and my daughter. Plastered all over my social medias. I look back and I was like, oh, see what I know what I was doing. I'd see my daughter twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, maybe every other weekend. That's how it was spread out. And it's like I had to prove to the world, look at me. Look, I am. And I would love the pats on the back. Oh, Mike, you're such a good dad. Mike, you're such a good dad. And I have to be honest with myself. I was posting it because I was very insecure about that. You go back on my social media today, and you hardly see her. Why? Because I'm not insecure about that anymore. We're together, we talk all the time. That's why, like, my buddy, it's my friend. I love my daughter. Like, that's my homie. You know what I'm saying? It's different, And I always talk about, like, it's funny because you'll see a single dad, right? Doesn't have custody of the kids. And there'll be pictures of his kids everywhere. My kids are my life. My kids, look at me and my kids. Then you'll see a single mother's page. And they don't have a lot of pictures of their kids. Some, but not a lot. And I always used to think, I'm like, now I know why. I know why. It's because when they want to see their kids, they just look down. Or they look over there at the couch. They look in the kitchen. They can see their kids. You know what I mean? So there's no need to be posting them to the world. If I want to see it, this is not rare. I see them all the time. Food, I go to nice restaurants all the time. I'm not taking pictures of the food all the time. But if I rarely go out and I'm out with my friends and I'm at a nice little spot, just a slightly expensive place, I'm going to take some pictures of that steak, of the flaming steak and the fire and all that stuff. Of course. So that's how I learned to look at social media. And I'm paying close attention. And I've always said, if you see a woman, right, applies to men too. But if you see a woman, I love my husband because look at me and my husband and every other picture is her and husband. Beware. Beware, because there's a good chance that they're not happy at all. There's a great chance that they're not happy at all. I like to joke around, right? That's and this is just a joke, that if you see a guy and a girl in a profile picture, yeah, one of them cheated or he hits her. It's either or. And that's a joke. I'm not serious about that, because you could have 1,000,001 reasons why you do it. But, I find that usually somebody did something funny and somebody's lacking trust. So they have to kind of make up for it by doing something like that. I tell you all that to go back to the DJ Twitch thing. We don't know, man. It's the definition of it's like Robin Williams. It's like the definition of a clown, with all this smiley makeup, and underneath they're in tears. And they're crying. And I ask myself, what can we do? How can we better this situation? I'm a huge proponent of male vulnerability. I send out a text message once a month. And anybody who sees this video that are my boys, please vouch for me. My people, vouch for me. If you've got one of these texts from me, please vouch for me. I literally write a message. Hey, brother, just checking in on you. Want to make sure everything's good in your life. Something very brief, small. And then I literally copy and paste it to no less than 50 people. I've been doing that I've been doing that for a good 4 years. Where I just send out a random text just to see how my guys are doing. Just my brother checking. That's what I call it, my brother checking. And I've probably gotten this message back about 10 or 15 times. Yo, man, thank you, bro. Yo, you don't understand what I'm going through right now. Man, I'm going through it. I think that we need to move past the days where we had to be tough in front of each other. I think we need to move past the days where vulnerability was looked at as a weakness. I think we need to move past the days where, it's not a positive to share your feelings. Now, here's the deal. I say that, but I'm 100% of a proponent of being sensitive, not soft. I'm 100% for vulnerability. I'm 100% for sharing. I'm 100% for giving a piece of yourself and letting people know what you're going through, so you know you're not alone. But I want to make sure that we distinguish the difference between sensitive and soft. Sensitive is you understand your role in a situation. You understand how you impact the people around you, how your feelings and emotions impact the people around you. So even when you're delivering what you're going through, you understand your audience and who you are within the pack. Soft is when you disregard who you are within the pack and you only concentrate on how you're feeling and you disregard the people around you. So when I say soft, I talk about that woe is me. Woe is me. Life is woe is me, woe is me, without any action behind it, without any we all get that opportunity to be that guy for a little while. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not saying you can't be weak. You can't be, vulnerable. You can be vulnerable, but understand that with the vulnerability comes responsibility. And you have to pick your big boy pants up. And now you have to kind of like understand that, there's people depending on you. There's people around you that need you. So you get your moment, have your moment, come out of it. I always say you could visit the darkness, but you don't live there. You could visit the darkness, but you don't live there. Meaning, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to get upset. It's okay to be in your feelings. It's okay to go through things. But understand that those are places that you should visit. Now, listen, this is different than mental health. This is different than somebody who can't help it. This is different than somebody who can't control it. I'm talking about man to man. Here, I'm telling you, hey, listen, this is you have a healthy state of mind. You go through stuff. This is who I'm talking to right now. And I'm trying to tell you, you're allowed to visit those places. You're allowed to feel like crap sometimes. You're allowed to be worried. You're allowed to be stressed. But just remember, please, you don't live there. You visit, you don't live in that darkness. Come out of it. Now, again, it's different than the people that can't control it, than the people that go into that darkness, and that's where they live, and the problem is they don't see the door out of there. It's not that they don't want out; they just don't see the door out of there. You know what I mean? And they're stuck there, and they get to the point where they're like, "Well, does it even matter if I exist? I'm here. I'm crap. I'm the worst. I'm whatever. Doesn't matter if I exist." Check on your strong friends. Check on your strong friends. The ones that talk a great game, the ones that constantly the life of the party, the ones that are happy. Unfortunately, when it comes to mental health, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So the person that's constantly down, that you see the visual, you can see have issues or you hear about all the time is going through stuff. That's the one that gets the phone call. That's the one that gets the text. That's the one that gets the treatment. Hey, how are you? Maybe we should get you some help. That's the one that gets everything. The strong, silent type, the guy that never complains, the guy that's always happy, the guy that just goes to work, handles his business. Nobody ever goes to him and just says, hey, man, are you okay? The life of the party, the girl that loves to dance and have fun with you and is smiling and she has jokes and everything's a good time when she's there. And you're just like, yo, this girl is awesome. She's amazing. Nobody ever asks them, hey, are you okay? So I challenge you today. I challenge you to find those friends. The friend that you know is just going to be like, yeah, I'm good. Like, what's up? Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, like that's not going to give you the, yeah, I'm terrible right now. I'm going through it. No, I challenge you. Go to the friend that in your heart is just going to be like, No, I'm good. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm great. No, I'm good. And challenge them a little bit and ask them, yo, you good? You okay, man? You need anything, bro? I'm here for you. Let them know that you're here for them. Because too many people, and again, full disclosure, I've been that guy, man. I've been that guy where the world is falling apart around me, literally falling apart around me. I get horrible news from a doctor, from somebody or whatever, or one of my properties is in trouble for something, and I'm like, oh man, I'm dying inside. And then I walk into a room, and because I'm a believer that misery doesn't love company, I'm the first one. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Yo, I'm great, bro. Yo, man, I'm good. Hey, what's up, man? How's it? And I can't count on how many times it's been. All I've needed was somebody to be like, "Yeah, you all right? You sure?" That little "you sure" at the end of the sentence probably would have had me talking like, "Nah, man, is it everybody goes through stuff, blah 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 blah," and kind of opening up a little bit just to share. With that, I encourage everybody to get help, get therapy. When I say get help, I don't mean that there's something wrong with you. Say go to therapy. This world, visually, audio, uh, you know, just in so many different ways, injects you with a lot of venom, a lot of venom, a lot of horrible things you see, you hear, the news. I always talk about a movie called The Green Mile. There's a movie called The Green Mile, and in The Green Mile, John Coffey, what he would do is he would grab people and he would suck up whatever was ailing them or killing them. Or their evil, whatever was inside them, and then he would cough it out, and he would see it fly off, and it was his superpower. Until one day he took on too much, and he didn't have the opportunity to cough it out. He couldn't cough it out, and he killed him. And I feel the same way about people's situations, people's problems, people's issues. There's only so much you can absorb. There's only so much that you can bring in without it killing you. You're going to eventually need to go to somebody and vent and let it out. Somebody gave me a great analogy a couple years ago about therapy. And it went something like this. They're like, hey, Mike, have you ever heard the saying you could open up to someone? Like, yeah, he's cool. I could open up to him. I could talk to them. I was like, yeah, I get that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. They said to me, well, you could literally open up to anyone. But let's think of it like a bottle of soda, a shaken bottle of soda. Inside of the soda is all your emotions, your feelings, and everything you're going through. And when somebody shakes that soda, that soda's in turmoil. The inside of that soda is ready to pop. So literally anybody can come take that cap off, and what happens? All that soda that's in there spills out. It literally spills out. What does it do? It leaves that soda that's left in there flat. It leaves it flat. And they said to me that just like that soda, when humans go flat, that's when they hurt themselves. That's when drugs get involved, alcohol, even suicide is a possibility when a human goes flat. So he was like, that's why a therapist is trained to do what they do. They grab that same bottle of soda that's shaking and they open it and they relieve the pressure slowly. But the most important thing that they do that average humans can't do, that only therapists can do, is they close you back up, leaving fizz inside that soda, leaving life inside that soda. That fizz is your life, is you still being able to, function because there's life to you. and that's what a trained therapist is meant to do. They don't just let you open up. They also at the end they close you back up, so you don't have these unresolved feelings walking around, just kind of like hanging out. Either they're ready to hurt somebody or hurt yourself. So I encourage you to stop, take a minute, and see if you can talk to a professional. And if you don't feel comfortable right away with a professional, you could always come. If there's a trusted family member, a pastor, you could start there. There's somebody somebody you can confide in slowly and let them know, what's going on. That things aren't okay. That things aren't all right. And if it wasn't for the fact that so many strangers listen, I would offer myself up. But that's up to you. If you want to DM me, and I'm very sensitive about what I take in. You know what I'm saying? If you want to ask relationship advice, things like that, things that are stressing you out, cool. You want to have a conversation. But as far as therapy, I don't do it through this. I don't do it through the show, through this channel here. That's not what I do. All right. So now that we went a little heavy today, we're gonna back off and we're gonna talk about what my bread and butter is, and that is relationships. One of the ones that I've had a recent conversation about is I love talking about silence and the meaning of communication within a relationship. I talk about it all the time. And people always ask me, okay, everybody says communication, but what does that mean? What do you mean by, do you mean talking? We should have been talking, but I can't stand his ass. Why would I talk to him? Or he's getting on my nerves. Or you get to the point where you're like, why would I talk? Oh, hell no, I hate them. Why would I talk to them? And I say, no, there's so many different channels of communication before you get to that point that should be addressed in a relationship, that need to be talked about. So when they say communication, first let's understand what communication means to each party involved. I have a thing where I say communication for a woman equals love. She openly communicates and lets her feelings be known, and preferably to the man that she loves. I always have this analogy. If you ask a woman, if a woman comes to you, she asks you, "How was your day at work?" You say, "It was good. I had a good time. I did this and that." And then what she really wants you to do is she really wants you to ask her how her day at work was. And when you ask her, she's going to tell you every detail. Guys, we've all been there. We've all been there. You ask, she asks you, you ask her back, and she tells you every detail. This girl ate my lunch. And if this girl thinks she's gonna take my job, and I think she's sleeping with the boss, and she wears, can you believe she wear that much makeup? I was like, girl, you coming to work, you're not going to the club. And you listen and you listen and you listen, and you know the names of all the major players, who the hater is that's trying to take her job, who the boss is, who the one that thinks she's the boss is, who the girl that always late, who the one that has problem with her kids, who the girl that get a welfare check and works at the same time. You know every story. And I know Chris Rock had a bit, and his bit was like, "Can I get a few minutes? Can I get a few minutes to just relax?" And rightfully so. You would want to come home and just get a minute to breathe and relax. Here's what I'm trying to tell you: that communication that she's giving you is what I call in the manosphere a poorly wrapped compliment. It's a poorly wrapped compliment. It's her way of saying I love you. Mind you, she has a mother, sister, best friend. She could go to all of them. But no, she goes to you first. She goes to you because you're the man that she loves. She doesn't need answers. She does not need answers. She's a smart woman. She just needs you to listen because she's basically telling you, I love you. Look, I want to communicate with you. I want to talk to you. I want to share with you because I love you. Why is it important to know that? It's important to know that because too often I tell men, don't fear the bitching and the moaning. Fear the silence. Don't fear the bitching and the moaning. Fear the silence. A woman will tell you exactly what she needs from you and what she wants from you and what she needs from you. I need you to do this. I want you to be this person. I need you to fix this. I need you. I need. She's verbalizing. And then one day she goes quiet. And you're happy because now she's not bitching and moaning. But the truth is, you're about to pay the ultimate price. Because when a woman stops communicating, she begins mentally checking out. What she says to herself is, I'm all talked out. I'm all asked out. I gave it my best and you ignored me. It fell on deaf ears. And now, when I'm not being heard, that affects me emotionally, and I want to start checking out of this relationship mentally. So she literally starts to work her way. And now all of a sudden, you don't get the bitching in the morning, and other areas of the relationship are affected. And then one day she walks out the door, and you don't know what happened. You're like, whoa, what happened here? Because you took all that bitching and all that moaning so lightly that you just assumed, oh, she'll be all right. She'll be all right. She'll be all right. And then one day she's gone. And here's the problem. She didn't break up with you when she walked out the door. She literally broke up with you 3 to 4 months ago when you wouldn't listen. When you wouldn't listen about the household complaints that you guys need more money. When you wouldn't listen about, the fact that you don't communicate. You didn't listen about the fact that you don't take her out, you don't pay attention, you don't do this, da, da, da. Well, she's gone. And when a good girl's gone, they say she's gone forever. I don't know if that's all true, but that's what they say. So now, what does communication mean to a man? Communication doesn't mean the same thing to a man. For a guy, we can pretty much communicate with anybody. But we only communicate after we've gone through our process. And what men tend to do is we tend to trim the fat on a problem or an issue before we bring it to our significant other. Now, when you have a guy that's not that bright, that's not a good thing because it ends up being more trouble for you. But sometimes you have a guy that's really bright and he's just trying to avoid you being stressed out until it's absolutely necessary. So you're taking his silence, right? He's quiet. And you're like, why is he quiet? And you start to think, oh man, is he mad? Is he upset? Did I say something? What's wrong with him? Why isn't he talking to me? Why doesn't he share with me? Oh my God. Trust me, your man is not thinking anything serious. He's really thinking, yo, that was a pass interference on the Giants. They shouldn't have beat the Washington Commanders. That's what he's thinking. He's not thinking nothing crazy, nothing major. But what he is doing, whenever there's a problem or a situation, I'll give you an example. So an example that's in my book. One of the examples is a man goes outside to turn his car on. The car won't turn on. Car won't turn on. He comes into the house and says, oh my God, babe, we need a new car. That's it. We got to go junk this car. Let me call the junkyard. I'm going to junk this car. It's done. We need a new car. right away, you're like, what? What do you mean? Oh my god, yo, this is crazy. No, where are we gonna get the money? You start to stress out. It really impacts you, and you start to stress out, only to find out that the car ran out of gas. How irritated and pissed off would you be at that man? You'd be mad, man, at him. So what do us guys do? What we do is the car won't start. Let me check everything within my capacity before I approach her about what's going on. We have gas, battery's good, oil change, this, that, okay, everything's good, blah blah blah. All right, well, it's out of my hand now. I'm gonna go and let her know, hey man, we might have a major repair on our hands because I can't tell you why the car won't start. You see the difference? One is getting her upset unnecessarily, only to find out it's a simple fix. The other one is let me find out everything that's going on before I come to you. Now, a lot of times, where does that thinking happen? It's not happening in the car. It's happening when he's sitting on his playing his game. He's sitting there playing his video game, and you think, "Oh, he's just playing the video game." Da, da, da. Believe it or not, that's a large part of a lot of men's process. They're thinking about different things. It's also an escape, but they're also thinking about them. They're like, "Yo, yeah, man, yeah, you know what?" Yeah. Thinking about, and they're working it out in their head, and blah blah blah. Or sometimes you'll see them on the couch or in the garage, or doing little things, and you're like, you think they're just bumbling or stumbling, and what they're really doing is they're quiet because they're working through their process. Now, here's where the problems start. The problems start because for a woman, communication equals love. So if a man is quiet, and when I'm quiet, it means I'm checking out mentally. That means when he's quiet, he must be mentally checking out. Oh no, I can't let that happen. What's wrong? What's going on? Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Here's what happens. He's in his process, right? And he's working through it. He's working through it. He's working through it. Working through it. A little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And he's about to come to you because he can't figure it out. And but here you come, intercepting his process, saying, "No, I need to talk to you. You don't talk to me. You don't talk to me." So resetting everything. It resets everything. So what I'm trying to tell you is that when a man is quiet, he's gonna come to you. You're the woman he loves. You're the woman he loves. He's gonna come to you with different issues, with different things. But he's gonna come to you on his timeline, not yours. On his timeline. He's gonna come to you when he's settled in and and he's willing to share and let you in and give you the whole story. Not on your schedule where you want. He's only gonna give you bits and pieces when he's trying to give it to you on your schedule. He's not ready to give you the whole thing right away. He hasn't thought it out yet. You know? So that's the thing about silence. It just means different things to different people. And it's not that that's just one form of communication. You also got to remember this. When you have children, see when you're single, when you're just you and your partner, you have what you call direct communication. You speak, I listen, I speak, you listen. It's very clear, back and forth. And we're able to talk and we're able to have a conversation. It's cool. Now, when kids are involved and they come into the family, they come into the life. Have you ever played the phone game? You whisper in somebody's ear. By the time it gets to the second, third, fourth person, the message is completely distorted. That's what happens for direct communication when you have children. Everything you say now bounces off a child and then goes to their ears. And goes from them to a child to your ears. Why? Because now the conversations are no longer, hey, how are you feeling? Tell me about you. They become more about, did we pick up? Did we do? Did we take? Did we pay? Did we, do we, do we have to? Do we need to? Did we? Oh my God, did you forget to? That's where the conversations begin. And what it does is that indirect communication creates a problem because remember, for a woman, communication equals love. So if she's not getting her fill of communication, she's not feeling loved. And if she's not feeling loved, she's not feeling sexy. She's not feeling the intimacy. So it starts to manifest itself in other areas of your relationship, like the bedroom. All of a sudden, the husband, the man, is not getting sex. And it becomes a cycle of needs not being met. It becomes a whole cycle of needs. I'm not getting sex. I'm not getting fun with my wife. I don't think she loves me. I don't think she cares. And she's like, oh, we don't even talk anymore. We don't even share anymore. We don't even talk. Not understanding that, because that 15 minutes of pillow talk at the end of the night is just not enough. And you don't realize it, but it does. It manifests itself in the relationship and it rears its ugly head and you start to see shit. Well, what exactly happens? I'll tell you what happened, man. COVID has really sped up this process. First of all, it's really sped up this process. So now, if you don't fix this early, you have a case. You ever seen a couple, their kids graduate, leave to college, or they're off, leaving the house, and they're just them two left, and they look at each other and they go, "Oh, we were just here for the kids. We're out. It's over. We're gonna get a divorce." You're like, "Holy shit! What happened?" I'll tell you what happened. When the kids were gone and that interference left, he looked at her and he was no longer looking at a mom or a wife. He was looking at a woman. She was no longer looking at a dad, a husband. She was looking at a man. And he looked at her and said, I don't like the woman in you. And she looked at him and said, I don't like the man in you. Let's go our separate ways. Be out. The couples that survive are the ones that never stop addressing the man in him and the woman in her. And you ever hear that? Never stop courting. Don't stop doing the things that made you fall in love with each other. That's where that comes from. Never stop doing those things because in doing those things, you're addressing them before they were parents, before they were a husband, before they were a mother or a father. So you're addressing that person that you knew. And that's the man in them, that's the woman in them. If you do that, if you address that person, right, and you never stop addressing those people, now the kids are gone, and you guys are looking at each other like, I love, man, I know this person. I love them. I've always seen them. I'm glad now we're finally alone. The man in him or the woman in her. I love now, and now you got going traveling the world, going on vacations, living your best life together. That's the difference. That's the major difference right there. They never stop courting each other, talking to the man in each other, the woman in each other. They always address that person. You know, they looked at each other, they acknowledged each other. And the other thing that they would do is that they would find something that their love is bonded by and build a life around it. I always tell the story. I have a neighbor. He's very introverted. His wife is very outgoing. You see them, you're like, oh wow, So kind of like the odd couple. So I started talking to my neighbor, and I'm like, hey neighbor, when I was writing my book, I would ask, do my little research, walk around. Like, so what's the key? They were married 30 years, 25, 30 years, something like that. What's the key to a long relationship? He goes, she's always been the funniest person in the room. Like she's made me laugh. Before I ever made my money, she always made me laugh. We always had a good time together. We would crack up. She's always been the funniest person in the room. And I was like, whatever. And then he says to me, he goes, and I'm the only person that can make her laugh. In other words, she's very critical of people when they try to be funny, but she thinks he's hilarious. He tells me how they used to go to New York, have some liquor, and people watch and laugh and joke. And he's like, this is when I was poor. I didn't have any money. You know what I mean? And now she's, whatever. So he goes, so I asked him, I was like, what's the secret of being together? And he tells me, all the stuff, morals, values, religion, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But he goes, and that's when he told me she makes me laugh. So I go, tell me more about that because I found it fascinating. And he goes, well, a couple of years ago, we decided that, we used to watch funny movies all the time, go to comedy shows, and we just loved, that was our thing. We used to just love doing it. So a couple of years ago, we decided that we were going to be renting a Winnebago and that we would go to the Montreal Music Festival, Comedy Festival for about 2 weeks, go hang out. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, man, we'd go, just me and her. No kids, no grandkids, just me and her. Go to reconnect, have fun and enjoy. And we would do that. And we've been doing that for 25 years. We've been going there and having fun. And the kids know that, whenever the festival pops up, not to come around, not to call us, that's what we'll be. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. What was he telling me? What he told me was every relationship has something that makes their relationship extremely unique. Whether it's like a fingerprint or a snowflake. It makes their relationship extremely unique. And what they did is what they found out, they identified what that was, and they built a life around it. They identified what that was, and they built a life around it. And ever things got tough, things got crazy, they knew they were going to have their 2 weeks to go away together and just kind of decompress and bring it all back to zero, bring it all back to center. So they revolved their life around laughter and comedy and fun, and that's what they do. I found it fascinating. These are the keys, ladies and gentlemen. These are the keys, man. These are the keys. Communication, but what kind of communication? We talked about direct, indirect. We talked about communicating with the man and woman in each other, never forgetting that to address those people first. Never stop courting each other. The people that you fell in love with and why. Never stop speaking to them. You know what I mean? Time can affect that person. They say, oh, we grew apart. You grew apart because you lost touch with who each other were. If you keep in touch with the people that each other were, you grow together. And that's the key. It's a couple that grows together, are the ones that are successful. Next up, I want to talk about a little message to my inbox, which I thought was kind of cool. It's fairly simple. Let me see. This is a short one. Dear Dropping Dimes, my friends and I had this talk the other day. What's better? I miss you sex or makeup sex? Obviously, the easy answer is both of them. Shit, I'll take them any day. Both of them are perfectly okay with my book. They're both fantastic, and they both offer tremendous highs. But then, I take a step back and I have to think about this, right? What does this entail? So let me break it down like this. I feel like the high and euphoria of makeup sex might be slightly higher at its peak. But I feel like the healthier of the two is I miss you sex. The reason I say this is because I miss you sex implies that you're still together. It implies that the relationship is healthy. And it implies that, I miss your being, your experience, being next to you. And I want to make love to you and I want to hold you and I want to be with you. So it means that it comes from a healthy state that you guys were together. Unless, you were broken up or something like that. But I'm assuming no. Makeup sex usually comes is birthed from a toxic situation where there was a nasty argument, where there was lack of communication, where there was some hurt exchanged, it comes from a dark place. So the question is, if I had to be asked what I like for a single experience, right, in my life, which one has been more intense? The makeup sex has been more intense in my lifetime. All right. The I miss you sex was more fulfilling because it was where I wanted to be, with who I wanted to be there with. And it was this sensation that I felt like something out of my power had removed them from me, had taken them from me. So it felt like this overwhelming emotion. It was different. As opposed to, we broke up because of something each other did, and we were toxic and we were nasty and we were mean, and we fucked up and we broke up, and we were foul to each other. That's, you gotta. I'm gonna go by final answer. My final answer is, at its peak, makeup sex is better. At its peak, it's just more intense. To me, it's just more intense. And it comes from a different place. Sometimes a little anger is involved. Sometimes, there's just a lot of emotion. That's just for me. I'm sure that other people feel maybe I miss you sex is better. But I kudos to both of them. As long as you guys are intimate, making love and holding each other, props to you. You know what I'm saying? So we're really nitpicking here because they say sex is like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still sex. It's really not that bad, You know. But yeah, that's about it. That's my answer on that one. Today was a short question in the inbox that I wanted to address. I want to close out with this. In the beginning of the show, I tried to articulate and talk about mental health and how we need to check on each other, but especially let's check on our strong friends. Let's reach out to them. Let's see how they're doing. Just because they look like they have it all together, it doesn't mean the world's not falling apart. Just because they're driving a beautiful car, have a nice house, their husband looks amazing, wife, kids, it doesn't mean they're not down in a bottle of wine every night. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that her husband's not cheating on her. It doesn't mean that his wife is not stepping out. You know what I mean? Don't let appearances fool you. If you love them, I'm not saying go prying into their life, but if you love them, let them know that you know what? This is a no judgment zone. You can come to me and you can talk to me. I have an ear for you to listen, so I can listen, and I have a shoulder if you need to cry. I'm here for you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight on the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N podcast. I'm your host, Dropping Dimes, aka the Hopeful Romantic, aka the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. They say the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. Once again, thank you very much. Do not forget to check on your strong friends, but most importantly, thank you for walking in my way. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.